So I decided to jump on the mini excavator bandwagon. And I got this AGT QH12R mini excavator. As you can see, I had to take the canopy off. It was too tall for my garage, and that really sucks. That really bums me out. Obviously you kind of want that canopy on there as far as rollover protection, but honestly the tubing's not that heavy. I don't know how much it would do. But for the time being, I'm gonna have to come up with a plan as far as being able to store this in my garage with the canopy on. I don't know if I'm gonna modify it or leave it off or make a whole new cage altogether out of tubing. No idea. So to answer some questions already, because I know what you're gonna ask, it costs $5,199 plus tax. I live in Iowa, so we have 7% tax. But I traded in my John Deere on this, so I got a credit and had to pay some cash on top of that. But if you wanted to pay cash, where I'm from, it's $5,199. You're probably wondering where I got it. I bought it from an AGT dealership. Now that varies state by state. Fortunately for me, here in Iowa, we have an awesome AGT dealer in eastern Iowa that are great to work with, and they have great prices on stuff as well as a huge selection. I was able to get this in orange. They had them advertised as yellow, but I asked and he said, oh yeah, we have them in different colors, and I wanted the orange to kind of match my current machinery color scheme. And they delivered it. And it cost $200 delivery, which was more than worth it for me. That saved me a lot of gas and miles on my truck and time. So they were excellent to work with. As far as first impressions on this, it both impresses me but doesn't surprise me at the same time. Now, I've been looking for a mini excavator for a long time, and I've considered Groundhog, I've considered Kimron, where they kind of update things and change things and, you know, kind of improve them. And I knew that, you know, just buying a stock model from AGT or whomever, you know, they're gonna have their issues, and this one is no different. The right away, the dealership told me that the choke is goofy and it doesn't work from when you're in the seat. It doesn't return. It'll only go one way, so that needs some work. And then the one time I moved it into my garage, this broke, the throttle. So that just moves around in there. It doesn't actually move the actual throttle. And so stuff like that is, you know, it's frustrating, but it's also, you know, at least it's just that. At least it's not like a major issue. And as cheap as this stuff is made, it doesn't surprise me. And then just doing like a walk around, you know, there's this hose like hangs off the side. It's not supported by anything, and even the like stickers are kind of peeling off. And there's some, you know, there's some like rust on some of the fittings, and these probably oftentimes sit outside for a while before they get purchased, and the elements kind of get to them. The canopy right now is actually stored inside of my house. I just wanted it out of my way, but the roof on it is dented. I'm assuming from shipping. And somewhere on here, where was that? Where did I see this? Okay, right here, this is dented and actually pushed in a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. My GoPro doesn't really adjust, but like that's dented in a little bit. And you know, there's like random spots where paint is scraped off, and you know, cosmetic stuff. And to be honest with you, I don't blame this for having dents and stuff on it. If I rode on a ship across the Pacific, I'd probably get pretty beat up too. So it's pretty much a miracle that nothing too serious is beat up on it. But I will say it is a lot heavier and a lot more beefy than I thought it would be. And I don't know why I had that in my head that it wouldn't, you know, be as strong, but it really is. Like, it's heavy. And it has really tight hydraulics on it. And it's responsive, and the boom is made out of metal that's thicker than I thought it would be. You're looking at maybe 3/8 here. Probably even more thickness. A lot of the welds look really good. I mean, look at all this stuff. It's pretty thick. Manual thumb on there. Everything seems just a little more beefy than I thought it would be. And it does have the third function hydraulics. And these just kind of flap around there. I'm going to zip tie these so they don't move. It's got a light on there, which I have not tried yet. It's got the power kill here. And I knew this before even buying this, that if you leave these on, your hour meter will continue. So a lot of people are leaving this on all night long, and then the next day they realize they have 15 hours on it. And I could care less what that little meter says. Anyway, so it's got electric start, which works pretty good. And it does have a pull starter in there, which is great, because if you watch my videos, you know how much I love pull start. I hate electrical stuff. It's convenient, but it's annoying when it fails. Immediately, I was looking for a counterweight in this thing. This plate down here is a little bit thick, but it's not that thick. And so this thing really doesn't seem like it has a lot for counterweight. And if it becomes a problem, it'd be nice to maybe you know, put some lead blocks or bricks back here somehow and mount them, so then there's more counterweight. This back piece here is really thin, which is surprising. I don't know if the dealership put these hinges on or if they came this way, but I absolutely love how this whole thing swings open. Then they've got these nifty little adjustable tensioner deals that keep this shut, and it pulls it in there tight so this thing won't rattle when it's running. Like I said, you can adjust these, and I might adjust them because one of them is, well, I guess they're both all right. One of them seems a little tighter than the other one. This seat came with plastic on it, which drives me crazy. I tried to rip it off, but I gotta actually take the seat apart so then I can get more of this plastic out, because that's gonna drive me nuts. I don't know why it bothers me, it just does. It came with this mat, which is easily removable. Right there you have the cap for the hydraulic oil. And then there is a gauge right there. I don't know if you can see that. So you can check that. I was looking at another model. I think it was the AGT QH12R. And I liked the look of it, but on that one, the hoses were actually inside the boom, which in theory seems good because you'd have less of a chance of, you know, breaking a hydraulic line on a piece of, like a log or a rock or whatever. But I like how on this one they're all exposed and they're all on the top of the boom, because when it comes to anything hydraulic hoses are basically consumables. At some point you're gonna have to replace them. It's not an if, it's a when. And I would much rather replace hoses that are on top of the boom than inside of it, because then you gotta fish hydraulic hoses through there. Super easy to get to. Look at that. You just loosen these bolts. These are basically just hold downs. Holds everything steady. Pretty accessible for a lot of the hydraulic system, which is nice. Hydraulic cylinders look pretty decent. I don't know a lot about them. You can see there's some hard line on here, and it's funny because this could have been bent at some point, so I'm hoping that holds up. But if a guy had to change this cylinder, I don't think it'd be that hard. That's the problem with importing anything, is the shipping really takes a toll on stuff compared to just building it in the United States and then shipping it, you know, through commerce, semis and whatnot, instead of a ship. It's got the bucket's a lot bigger than I thought it would be. And it's kind of weird because the bottom part is wider than the top. I don't know if you can see that or not. Or maybe it isn't. I don't know. Got some teeth on there that are kind of crooked right now. I'm gonna straighten those out. Adjustable manual thumb on here, or fixed thumb, I guess. I could show that here in a bit. The blade in the front works really good. It's really heavy duty too. Good thick steel. I haven't pushed anything with it yet, but I'm sure it pushes just fine. As far as the tracks go, I have not done anything with them yet as far as greasing or adjusting. That's one of my fears with this thing. I don't know anything about tracks. I've never had anything with tracks on it. And throwing a track somewhere where you don't want to be and having to fix the track before you can move the machine, kind of scary. It's not like a wheel. So I'm gonna have to read up on that and watch some videos on that stuff. So far it seems to work pretty good, and the drive motors are very responsive on this. It's not like they're slipping or anything that would indicate that the track is loose or too tight or whatever. Seems like it's properly adjusted for now. Got a cup holder, little thing here that happens to be about the size of a cell phone. Here's the controls. You got swing left, swing right, stretch the, I guess the boom out, boom in. Left curls the bucket in, right curls the bucket out, and then up and down on the main boom right here. I guess I gotta read up on my terminology here, but pretty easy to get used to. Then these two here are for the tracks. That's pretty self-explanatory, just kind of like a bulldozer, I suppose. This one right here is for the front blade, and it's kind of a bad spot. It's kind of awkward having that right there. I might look into maybe coming up with some kind of design where I can add a handle or something to it that doesn't get in the way of anything else. Or maybe I won't, I don't know. And this is your auxiliary hydraulic lever. So if you have a hydraulic thumb on there, which I'm going to get, then that controls that. I would much rather have a foot controlled one. Someday I may look into that, but for now this will do, and that's fine. As far as the engine goes, this is a 420cc Rado engine. I don't really know a lot about Rado. I don't know if that's just like a foreign brand of gas engine. I don't know. Maybe it's, I don't know. But it's very, very similar to the Predator engine from Harbor Freight. It says 15 on there, so I'm guessing 15 horsepower. Gas. There is no radiator in here for the hydraulic oil, or no cooling fan or anything like that, and I'm worried about that a little bit. And it might be something where I'm gonna have to install one someday. I have no idea where it would go, so that's kind of a bummer. But I guess if anything, just not run it, you know, 8 hours straight when it's 100 degrees outside. Shut it off every once in a while and let it cool. I don't know. Same thing with the gasoline in here. I read that if this bay gets too hot, it'll actually boil the gasoline. So, things to think about when it comes to heat. I have no idea what brand the pump is. But at least it's somewhat easy to have access to. And before I use this thing, I really got to go through kind of every connection, because you should never trust anything like this. You should automatically assume everything's loose. Overseas, they're not about quality, they're about quantity. They want to pump these things out as fast as they can, so they're just gonna put a nut on there just tight enough that it won't fall off, and you got to make sure to tighten everything. What else? This seat flips up, which is awesome. Because at first I was thinking, oh man, I'm like, that's gonna be a hard pour right there for gas. Then I realized this whole thing flips up. How cool is that? Easy access to electric, hoses, pump, fuel tank, your electrical stuff there, your cables, throttle and shock cable. Seat is adjustable, which is awesome. You can have the seat back when you're crawling on it or when you're getting on it, and then you can move it forward when you want to get your back as straight as you can, but also be comfortable on the controls, so then you don't hunch over all day. That was one of my main concerns with this model. I was trying so hard to get a model that had pilot controls, where the joysticks were next to the seats, or on each side of the seat. Because it just seems like it'd be so much more comfortable than having them in front of you. And I was pretty worried about it. And the first time I got on this, I was so happy that it's really not that bad. It's not uncomfortable at all. It's way better than I thought it would be. So I also got a small pallet of attachments. It was actually really cheap. I paid $325 for all 3 of these. We have about a 31-inch bucket. And it's a sifting bucket. It has slots that are in it, so you can sift, you know, rock out of soil or debris out of whatever. I got a ripper tooth and then a rake. And there was a sticker on here, I don't know if you can see it, M-I-V-A, Miva. And the reason these are yellow is I think it was for a yellow mini excavator. And I can always just paint those, or use them as is, whatever. So that's pretty cool. Now I am getting a hydraulic thumb for it. The dealership has them on order, they're out of stock. When they get them in stock, I am gonna drive out to eastern Iowa and pick one up. And then I'm also gonna get a quick attach down here, so you can easily switch out attachments pretty fast. And it's kind of a weird mechanical design, but it makes sense, and I can show that when I get it. I really wanted the hydraulic thumb on here. I think that'd be great. And it did come with this toolbox, and it was filthy. I wiped it off, but yeah, tools box. and it came with the manual. And I got lucky because a lot of times when these machines sit outside with the toolbox, when it rains, it soaks everything inside of the box, and this is bone dry, so that's really nice. As far as the manual goes, it's in English, but some of the terminology in here is just not, some of it's goofy. I think some words are put in place of different words that should have been used, and so some of it's kind of goofy. What I noticed, because the first thing I looked at in here is I wanted to know what the oil capacity was of that engine, because I need to change it. And nowhere in this entire thing does it say how much oil goes in the engine. So I had to look it up online, which is no big deal. It just kind of sucks that the manual doesn't say that stuff. It has all these weird, you know, graphs and stuff like that. And maybe it does say in here how much oil it takes. But if it does, I never saw it, so I don't know. But at least it's there. I mean, whatever. Then it came with some tools. Little grease gun here. A couple sockets. I think they pretty much give you all the sockets that everything on the machine takes, as well as a wrench, 17, 19 millimeter. Weird looking whatever that thing is. I've never seen that. That's goofy. Little screwdriver. I was kind of hoping that there would be, and maybe it's in there, let me check. I was kind of hoping it would have one of those little pointy grease thingies. Because some of these are the normal grease certs. Where is one? I just saw one. Where was that? Okay, so like right here, that's a normal grease cert. But then up here, they don't put those zerts on there because they don't want you to snap it off, you know, with debris or something. So they have those little things where you have to stick that little pointy cone shaped thing down into there to grease it. I don't know the terms of all this stuff, I just know that it exists. But I was hoping one of those would come with that, so then I can grease these fittings that are on top, which I can just buy one. And this thing here, I'll never use this, but it is nice though that they give it to you. You know what? I'm gonna check this. I don't want to be talking smack about them if they actually put one in here. What kind of weird setup is this? Yeah. So this whole thing here anyway, I'm just gonna throw. I don't even need that. So I'm gonna have to get a grease gun nozzle tip to do some of those grease certs on there. So before I can run this thing and test it out, I need to change the oil in it. This engine has break-in oil that the dealership highly recommended I change right away. This engine's had a little bit of runtime, but not a ton. I'm just gonna change it. Whatever, I've heard that they even use like vegetable oil or mineral oil or some really thin low grade oil in these for shipping or something, not sure. But I'm gonna put some good oil in it. Because the manual wouldn't tell me how much oil the engine takes, I looked it up online, and this 420cc engine takes 1.16 quarts of oil. 1 quart is 32 fluid ounces, and 0.16 of a quart is 5.12 fluid ounces. So I'm going to put about 37 fluid ounces in there, give or take. And I have this 10W30 that I'm going to be using. This one here has zinc additive in it, which is great for camshafts. Just a little tip for you. And I have a drain pan. I am really happy that the drain for the engine oil is really easy to get to. It's right here. Sorry, it's probably hard to see with the lighting down here, but there's nothing underneath of it, so when you remove this bolt, it's just going to drain straight down. And then right here is where you put the oil back in. So that's pretty easy to get to. Can't beat that. And I am using a 12 millimeter to loosen this. It is so annoying that you have to do all this stuff before you get to play with it. I've been waiting to get a mini excavator for years and years and years. And I still can't dig a hole yet, even though I have one, because I gotta change the oil and play with the throttle cables. Wow, that oil is pathetic. At the rate this oil is coming out, it really doesn't look like a quart. 1.16 quarts is going to be coming out of that. That's terrible. Let's grab a funnel best suited for the job. That one looks pretty good. Put that right there. I guess there's more oil in that pan than I thought there would be. There's not even a gasket on this drain plug. I don't know if they're supposed to be. Or maybe, I don't know. I guess I just always thought they had gaskets on them. Okay. Now, start putting the oil in there. I'm gonna make it a mess here, but all right. Now that the engine oil is changed, I am gonna address the throttle cable. Now, I'm not so concerned about the choke cable. Right now, the choke is in the running position, and then all the way back is choke on. Not so concerned about that, but I want to make sure I can control the engine RPMs from the seat. So right now, with this all the way forward, I believe that is high idle. Yes. And then as you pull this back, that lowers it. So forward, high idle, back, low idle. But this thing ain't doing barely anything. So I'm gonna take the air cleaner off, see if I can't make more room for myself. That's a little better. Low idle. High idle. Still not a lot of room. Now if it infuriates you that I have to fix throttle cables on a brand new Chinese mini excavator, I should let you know that I had a John Deere 17G excavator on order a couple years back that's just a tad bit bigger than this machine, and it was $29,000. And this was $5,199, so just keep that in mind. I can deal with this, I really can. Alright, now we have a better look. This thing here just isn't adjusted very well. So this is high idle. So we just need to adjust this. I'm gonna put my camera up on the tripod. Whoops. Okay, so I have the throttle lever up there in high idle. This is high idle right there, so I'm going to loosen this. I'm so excited to run this thing, I'm freaking out. Alright, so I loosen that a little bit. Pull this tight, as tight as I can. Then I'm going to tighten this back down. I hope my hand's not in the way. Yeah, let's see if it works now. This is a little bit long. I'm going to cut that. Okay. Alright. Let's see how this works now. High. That's low. Okay, my guess here is this cable is so cheap, it's not rigid enough to push outward. It's okay to pull in, but it's not strong enough to push outward. See that? It's not going to push it out, but it'll pull it in. So some ways to alleviate that is by having a strong spring that pulls this that way, which there's a thing sitting there. Look at that. Where'd this come from? Wonder what this is for. Okay, I'm just gonna leave the throttle right there. Honestly, I'm probably gonna just get a new cable for this because this cable sucks. My Sears garden tractors have better cables than what is on this. This linkage here is like way stronger than what's on that Mini X. And it works fantastic. It actually has pushing and pulling power. So I think I'm just gonna get a cable like this one that's solid, and that should fix all of our problems over there. So for now, I think that'll be okay as long as I can get the RPMs up when I'm running it. And then like I said, the choke, I'll just manually adjust that right now because it's so easy to get to. So I'm gonna put all this back together. No idea what the deal with this is. We're just gonna tuck that out of the way. Yeah, we're not gonna worry about that right now. All right, what fuel we got in this bad boy? It is full. That is awesome. The dealership left me a full tank of gas. I knew I bought from the right people. They did give me excellent service. They really did. All right, now before I take this outside, I'm gonna quickly go through as many connections as I can, make sure they're tight, and we will get to trying this thing out. Because I know you want to see it just as bad as I do.